Alright, we are.
I got bullied. Now can you like not?
No. We are on lesson 3.3. We're still using a ratio table. Being completely honest with you guys, still I keep looking at this, trying to see where I think most people are getting confused, and there's two places where I think we're getting lost. One, I think we're getting confused because there's not a set answer. Or there's a set answer, not a set process. If you want to work it by addition, you can. If you want to work with multiplication, if you want to look at a different one, you can. I'm going to show you, we're going to put in our notes 4 ways you can solve these. Okay? Now that's kind of crazy, right? That there's not, we're used to 2-digit multiplication. I'm telling you, you have to show it this way. Dividing by decimal. You have to do this step, this step, this step. Today, with ratio tables, it's really perseverance, which is not giving up, working hard, and understanding. Okay? It's all going to be about you having to choose what helps for you. I'm going to guide you by teaching you the 4 methods, and then you guys have to be responsible. It's just like last night at basketball practice, we introduced one of our offensive plays. There's 6 options in this one offensive play. And so we ran them all. We showed the kid, hey, this time you're going to hand off, the kid did layup. This time you're going to turn, you're going to throw it. He's going to make a jump shot. This time, you're going to turn, he's going to screen, he's going to roll, you're going to dump it to him. This time, instead of passing it, you're going to take it to the hoop. This time, they're going to pick for here. You're going to give it to him, he's going to shoot. The last time when they do it, they're going to skip you and give it to him to shoot. And we practiced them all, and the one kid came up to me and goes, yo, coach, like in a game, are you going to tell us which one we have to do? I said, no. In a game, you have to read the defense, and you have to decide, hey, what is going to work on that time? Is this option available, or do I have to go to that? Same thing's going to happen in math. You're going to look at this and say, does this method work? No. Okay, what else can I do? I do have one way. I really thought about this a lot that I feel will help you if you pay attention. Those people that are not paying attention, I promise this probably will be more difficult. Here's what I want us to do. Turn back to your notes to example 1. Everyone get to this part. You see how we have this spot open right here? This is where we're going to put a couple notes. Alright, completing a ratio table. I'm going to put M1. Method 1. I'm going to get my piece of paper because last class I totally forgot about this method and I added it in last, which was a giant failure. My goal is to make an anchor chart to hang up on the wall this weekend for you so you can look at it for a reference guide. But method 1, when I'm solving a ratio table, is I'm going to treat it like with a rule. I'm going to treat it like an input output table. So that is one of the methods I could use. I'm going to treat it like an input output table. When we go to our example, I'll show you exactly what I mean. Okay? Input output. Last one. Method 2. Okay, we can add or subtract, but you have to do it by the ratio. That was a problem some people were making. They were doing, I can get from, we'll look at this one, I can get from 4 to 20 by adding 16, so I'm going to add 16 to 6. When we do ratios, you cannot just do that. Okay? Ratios are groups of sets. It's a comparison. If you add, you have to add by the ratio. Once again, I promise I'll show this to you. We're just going to write down such in your notes. Method 3. You can multiply or divide. Now, to be honest with you, On Wednesday, we used method 1, we used method 2, and we used method 3. We've used all of those. Man, my handwriting goes up and to the right.
It does. That's wacky.
I have bad handwriting.
True.
So, I erase this so you don't get that confused in there. So, those 3 methods you should sort of be familiar with because we practiced it on Wednesday. Today, we're going to look at the 4th method. And this is really going to be difficult for people that struggle with math facts. If I struggle with math facts, what do I use to help me? A calculator. Ever since I've taught 4th grade, every year I've had 4th grade parents. I taught 5th grade parents. I had 8th grade parents. I've had 6th grade parents when I did it before. They always ask me, what is the number one thing I can do to help my kid in math? Practice their math facts. Eli and Bennett are 1st and 2nd grade, and they're really high in math. And the number one reason is they know their math facts. They're able to do those quickly, which means all they have to do is think about the process for everything else. It makes this math so much easier. So if you hate math right now, or you say math's real hard for you, the number one thing you can do to help yourself, dollar store, go to the dollar store, buy a pack of multiplication facts. Start practicing. If you get really good at them, I swear to you, math becomes so much easier. It's just the number one thing you can do. The 4th method that we're adding, we're going to say mix. You're going to mix all those up. I might do method 1 and method 2, or I might do method 3. You're going to mix them, and then the other thing is number sets. And you'll see what that means in just a second. Where you're going to look at the numbers, and you're going to kind of, hey, what makes sense? What can I be looking at? Okay? All right. I want to look at your 2 examples you should have done. Now, here's what I would do. Okay? Anyone that's struggling on this, I'm going to give you a couple hints of what you can do. If you're rolling with this, and this is pretty easy for you, do you. That's okay. If you're following math facts, not a problem. If you're struggling, I'm going to give you tips on what I would do. Okay. First thing I would do is just to the side of the problem, I'm going to write down what is the ratio. So, on this one, hands to people. What is my ratio for the very first one or the smallest one? Brock? Okay, my ratio, if everyone sees, that's 4 to 2. Now, me being me, I like to simplify that as well. Can I simplify 4 over 2? Divide it by 2 and it becomes? Now, the reason I show this is because if you use method 2, I think, wasn't that the adding? If I use adding and subtracting, I'm either going to add the top line or subtract the top line by 4. But when I do that, I add or subtract by 2 on the bottom one. The reason I broke this down is because this is an easier number. If I add or subtract 2 on top, I add or subtract 1 on the bottom. Okay, when you add or subtract, you don't add or subtract the same number on the top and bottom. You have to use the ratio. So if I add 4 hands, I'm going to add 2 people. Oh, I get it. Like, that doesn't make sense. I was thinking 1 person, 4 hands. So, or I could say, if I add 2 hands, I'm going to add 1 person. If I take away 1 person, I'm taking away 2 hands. You add or subtract by your ratio. So I'm going to look at that first. When I look at this one, let's do just adding. And then I'm going to end up erasing this. I'm going to try adding. I look, and I don't know this blank. Everyone see I don't get this one? I don't know what this is. So the way you can do this is say, I don't know this one. Do I know its partner? So I don't know this ratio. Do I know the other half of the ratio? It's 4. I'm going to look at 4, and I'm going to look at that row. People. There's only one number that we do know. It's 2. Can I do anything to 2 to get to 4? Because they told me 2 and 4, I know they go together. Is there anything I can do to 2 to get to 4? Now, I can use any of my methods that we just talked about, any of the 4. We're focusing on adding and subtracting. My ratio was 4 to 2 or 2 to 1. This 2, can I add 2 plus 2 to get to 4?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to add my ratio. If I added this 2, what do I have to do to 2's partner, which is the 4? What do I have to do to it? Add 4. My ratio. I added 2 on the bottom, so I'm going to add 4 on top.
Oh, I did touch it.
Hold on, we'll talk about it. 4 plus 4 is 8. Sweet, we found one of the blanks. Now, let's go to another blank. I do not know this one. Do I know the partner ratio?
Yes.
Okay, it's 12. I can go from 4 to 12, 8 to 12, or 16 to 12. I can choose any of them I want. So I just look, which one is the easiest for me? Do I want to do 4 to 12, 8 to 12, or 16 to 12? Well, if I know my math facts, I'm going to do 8 to 12. Why? That's my ratio right there. 4. 8 plus 4 is 12. Since I did 8 plus 12, I have to do the partners. 4. What do I add here? It's a 2. I'm adding my ratio. Top I added 4, bottom I add 2. 4 plus 2 is
6.
Okay. We now have almost all the blanks. I do not know this one yet. I know its partner. Okay. I can use 4 to 16, 8 to 16, or 12 to 16. I'm using 12, and I'm adding my ratio. Does 12 plus 4 equal 16?
Yes.
Good. So I can add by my ratio. I added 4. I'm going to add 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. That is one method I used to find that answer. Okay. Everyone understand adding by your ratio?
Yeah.
Okay. What if, I'm going to draw it over to the side. What if I'm going to still use hands and people? Let's see, we knew 4, we knew 2, we knew 4, we knew 12. I'm just going to make a new box. We knew 16, right? Okay, what if I would have used the very first method I talked about, the rule? If we do a rule, that means this is the input, this is the output. I put 4 in, and I either multiply or divide. What are you doing, computer? Sit. Stay. Okay, if I put 4 in, stop it. If I put 4 in and 2 came out, what was my rule? What did I do to it? Did I multiply it or did I divide it? Divided. So what did I divide by? 2. Okay. So 4 goes in, 2 came out. I don't know this one. But if I did the rule, blank went in, I divided by 2, and 4 came out. Well, what would that have to be? It'd have to be 8. Because 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay, I don't know this one. I put 12 in. We divide by 2. What comes out?
6.
I don't know this one. 16 goes in. I divide by 2. What comes out? Now, which method was easier for you?
Well, it says right here, when you did 8, it said like 4-2 and then 8-4 as it was like 1/2. So I would like keep going from 12-6 and 16.
So you were kind of using this rule. You're just seeing it's always half, right? If that's easier for you, fantastic. Same one.
Yay, I'm smart.
Hands, people. 4, 2, 4, 12. Okay. Now, we looked at adding. We looked at input, output. This time, let's look at only multiplying or dividing. I don't know this one, but I do know this partner right here. The only one in this row is a 2. So, what did I multiply? Because 2 to 4 gets bigger. What did I take times 2 to get to 4? 2. If you multiply, I have to multiply the partners by the same. 4 times 2 is 8. Okay, I look for the next blank. I don't know this one, but I know 12. Let me highlight 12. Now this is really where you have a choice. Do I want to do 4 times something is 12 or 8 times something equals 12?
4.
Yeah. Does anything times 8 equal 12?
No.
That's a whole number?
No, because that doesn't make sense.
No. So let's do 4. 4 times what is 12? 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, let's go to 16. I do not know its partner, so I'm trying to solve for here. I know 16. So can I do 12 times anything is 16?
No.
8 times anything is 16?
Yeah.
Ooh, I can do that. How about 4 times 16?
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to do? 4 or 8? Which number would you rather use?
4.
Oh, I heard 4. So, does not matter. Either way would have worked. 4 times what is 16?
4. 5.
So I have to go to 4's partner, which is a 2. 2 times 4 is...
8.
Now, if you would have used 8, you would have done 8 times 2. So 4 times 2. We get the same answer. You guys see how you had 3 methods you could have choose. I could have added, I could have multiplied, I could have used input output. Okay? We're going to continue to work on these today. It really has to be up to you. Okay, let's turn to example 2. If my big ideas is working, I'm going to show the video. Pay attention to it because it helps out. Uh-oh, that's not looking good. Oh, I hate you big ideas.
Wow. I'm going to tell
Are you working? Are you working? Are you working?
A
Couple hundred more?
Nope. I'll try.
Why'd you break my board?
Ooh.
I blame Hudson. He was standing up when I came
That
in.
is true. Oh, yeah. Hudson, you
Extra homework because of Hudson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do number 2 together.
No, I was a trash can. I was it myself. Okay, you were trash.
Alright, completing the ratio table. All they're showing us here is something we've already done that I can use adding or subtracting. If I add, what do I add by? Nope, it's not a certain number. What do we add? If we're adding or subtracting, we're adding what? Every time. Grant? The ratio. So, on A, they already have all the work here with the answer, but we're not going to pay attention to that right now. On A, what is the ratio? That's my number 1 thing. What's the ratio? Good. My ratio. So we're going to look at A, and I'm going to say the ratio R was 1 to 100. So I'm either going to add or subtract by 1 for the dollars. I'm going to add or subtract by 100. Now, I do not know these blanks, but I know their partner. So I can look at any of them. Do I want to solve this one, or this one first?
This one. This one.
1, 2, or 3? What? Is there really a right answer?
No.
No, as long as it works. So let's look at 1. I don't know this, but I know its partner's 300. So, the partner was 300. I do know 100. How did I get from 100 to 300?
Times 3.
We can multiply by 3. I didn't add 100 because that only gave me 200. So 100 times 3, if I multiply by 3, what do I have to do up top? 1 times 3 is 3. Could I identify the rule right now? If I put 1 in and 100 comes out, if 3 goes in, 300 comes out. Does anyone know what the rule is right now? Nope. Because 1 times 3 is only 3. Yeah, if I'm making an input-output table, Kiri, words this way, face this way. If I put 1 in, and I times it by something, and 100 comes out, what is the rule?
1 and nothing.
Huh? Multiply by what? Okay, remember, we can also identify the rule. We could say our rule right now is timesing by 100. I input 100, or 1. I times it by 100, I get 100. I input 3. 3 times 100 is 300. So here I could say I input blank times by 100 and 900 comes out. What would be this number? 9. Okay, we know it's a 9. Let's check it. I don't know this. I know 900. How did I get, do you want to use 100 or 300?
300.
Okay. 300 to 900.
Times 3.
Times by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. We got the same answer. I could have used my input-output, or I could have multiplied. Now here's the last trick. I don't know this blank, but I know 8. How did I get from 1 to 8, 3 to 8, or 9 to 8? Okay, on here, they did show us subtracting 1. How do they know subtract 1? I mean, 3 to 9, I could have said add 6, but I would have had to know what to put here. How did they know I could add or subtract 1? How did they know 1 was an okay number to subtract, right? But how did I know I go down 1, but how did I know I could use 1? Okay, but how did I know I can use that? What am I going to subtract down here then? 900 minus what?
100.
How do you know that? Why don't I do 9 minus 1 is 8 and 900 minus 60 is 840? Good. Our ratio. 9, here's that part right here. We had a 1. So 9 minus 1 is 8. So now I have to do my 900 minus the other half of the ratio. 100. Did anyone find that last answer different? I know, I did. I'm not even going to lie about it. That's actually really easy, but I didn't even see it first. There was an easy, I feel like an easier way. Can I do anything to 9 besides minusing to get to 8?
No.
3 times anything equals 8?
No.
1 times anything equals 8?
Yeah.
1 times?
8.
So 100 times 8 is? That's what I did. Does that mean that's right? It means the answer's correct. That's not necessarily the right answer for the right method. So let's look at B. This one is the one that gets hard. First thing I like to do is identify my ratio. Just so I can always go back to it if I add or subtract. What is my ratio? Raise your hand. Good. So our first group, that's small. 3 to 1. Alright. Let's go here. I do not know this answer. This is the process I use. I don't know this one. Hopefully you're doing this in your notes. I don't know this one, but I know it's partner. It's partners 2. So what you say is, hey, I know it's partner. I got to find anything in minutes that has a partner as well. Like, I can't use 5/3. Why? Because it's blank up there. So I'm going to use this 1. What did I do from 1 to 2? Good. I could say I multiplied by 2. Could I have added my ratio? I could have added 1. Could have done either one. I'm going to use what Brock said first, because, to be honest, that's what comes to my mind. I times by 2. So I go up to 3. What do I have to do?
Times 2.
3 times 2 is...
6.
There's our first answer. All right. I'm going to go to this one. I do not know that answer, but I know this one's 2. I can look at 3 to 2 or 6 to 2. This is one that's going to be tricky.
6.
Jim? Alright. How did I get from 6 to 2? Ooh, I heard minus 4. Is minus 4 part of our ratio? No. Is, because my ratio on top's a 3. So is 3 equivalent to 4? Like if I did 3 times 2, I get 4? No, so I'm not going to add or subtract.
You're going to divide.
I'm going to
Divide.
6 divided by,
3. That's 2.
so I'm going to do 2 divided by 3. Now, I know this one came out whole. This one is not. What is 2 divided by 3? We leave it as a fraction. 2/3. We might have this happen. In real life, that's 0.666666666 continuing. Never ends. Now, I have another fraction. Guess which one of these I'm going to use to help with the fraction? I don't know this one. I know 5/3. Which one do you think I'm going to use to help?
The
Fraction. Now, if you looked in your notes, they told you they used our ratio. They added 1. What?
Yeah.
Can anyone tell me, because I think Big Idea's messed up again. They did 2/3 plus 1 is 5/3. I do not see it. 2 plus 1 is 3, or 3 plus 1 is 4, or 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 plus 1 is 4, 3, 4. How did they get 5/3? Raise your hand if you do not know how they got 5/3. Don't lie. If you do not know how they got 5/3, please raise your hand just so I can see who I want to have someone say something to. Ooh, if your hand's not up, I'm going to call on you, I think. And you have to tell us. Ooh, a couple hands went even higher. Like, ooh, no. Alright, here's what I want you to do. There's at least one person in every table group that did not have their hand up, so they know the answer. How they got 5/3. Turn, teach it to someone in your table group.
Teach me how. Oh, wait. Wait, hold up. If I use my math calculator, I think I do. I know.
Alright. Coming back together. Who can tell me the answer? Hold fun. But I want the person to explain it to be a person that did not know how to do it before. That someone told them how to do it. Who's brave enough and not scared that they're willing to say, hey, I didn't know how to do it, but I think I can now. Hi, Addison?
So we do 2/3 and plus half is how we do. 1 equals 3 over 3.
Good. We take our whole number. We have to change it into a fraction. And remember, if your numerator and denominator are the same, that equals 1. 2 over 2, 3 over 3, 57 over 57. Those all are the same amount. They're just 1. It's how big is a piece and how many do I have? Okay, now what, Addison?
So 2 plus 3 is 5, and then you keep the denominator.
Denominator stays the same when you add fractions. You add only the numerator 5/3. So, if I added 1, that 1 came from my ratio right here. So on the top, I have to add 3. Addison, who taught that to you? Or who explained it to you? Lily? Lily's a nerd, and now are you? Alright. Okay. Let's move on. Make sure you're following, because now... Ooh, you have tried.
Can we have a sandwich?
Ooh,
Yeah,
ooh.
let's make sandwiches.
I want to do number 3 for a reason.
Yes.
Okay, look at the next page at your try-its. Now, I'm going to make this a contest, okay? You're going to want to listen to how this contest works. 1, if I'm ever really confused, can I draw a picture of this?
Yes.
Flowers. 1 flower equals how many petals? 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, I'm not gonna lie, that's not that bad of a flower. I'm gonna put a little thing there.
Okay, now you
Yes, isn't it good? Alright. So now, for every flower, I have 5 petals. Okay, ready? I'm going to ask you, work with your table group, finish number 3, show all your work. I'm going to pause, and then I'm going to put up a bonus question, and one table group's going to earn a piece of cake. Alright? So, make sure everyone in your table group knows how to do this. Go! Okay. So, pictures technically could have been a whole nother method. Every time I could draw a picture. If you're understanding it, math, it's one reason they found like people that like math usually like science and usually like art. Math, it really kind of goes well to draw a picture. It's the visual. And I know I have to draw a picture. I was just doing that with a couple girls, and my flowers weren't as pretty as this one. Was it a dude? Good job. She's like, they were ugly. Just like your face, Mr. Suso. Josh, that was rude. Okay, let's see how you guys do this. Can anyone tell me, how did you find this answer? Elizabeth?
Okay, so I noticed that like the picture actually did help. So for every like 1 flower, there's 5 petals. So we multiplied by like 5.
Oh, so that's our input-output. Our rule was times it by 5. I go in
And out.
and output. Okay, keep going, please.
Since we had 2, I multiplied by 5 and I got 10.
Absolutely perfect. That will work. Can anyone tell me how they did this one? I had 4 flowers. Caleb?
Well, I just did mathy stuff. And I
Mathy stuff.
Yeah.
Math.
Way to be specific. On your test, how'd you get the answer? Mathy stuff. Okay, what was the mathy stuff you did?
So, well, since 2 times 4, or not 2 times 2 equals 4, then I would have to logically do 10 times 2 to get 20. So 20 is what we end up.
Guys, I'm loving this. I'm like McDonald's. I'm totally loving it. Because you see it, that was pretty impressive right there. I'm pretty loving that. Now, the reason I like this is I love that Caleb used this method. Why? Because it's not the same one Elizabeth was telling me. I'm talking, alarm. I like this because Elizabeth just told me the rule was times 5. So I could have done 4 times 5 was 20. But I like it. Caleb said he just saw 2 times 2 is 4. That obviously worked better for him. That's absolutely perfect. Please continue to do what works for you. Alright, last one. This one's a little trickier. How did I get how many flowers? I had 15 petals. A jug. How did we get this answer? I'm going to call you because we did something totally different. Remember, we had 15 petals. How did we find out how many flowers there were? What did you and I do together? You remember? What did you do? This side. Okay. How did we find out that it was this many flowers? What did I do each time? Yeah, we counted the petals. We drew the petals. Petals, 15. How many petals go per flower? 3. How many?
5.
5 petals. So Juck and I, we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 1 flower. So I'm going to say 5 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a flower. We're up to 10 petals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a third flower and 15 petals. 1, 2, 3. Did anyone do anything different?
Yeah.
I bet you did because our way is amazing.
It's not.
Yeah,
It's terrible.
Ainsley?
Dog's trash. My group did 5 times 3 was 15.
Use the rule, kind of. 5 times 3. So it would have been blank times 5 equals 15. And fill in the blank.
5, 1 to 5.
Oh, you did it this way. This 5 to this 15 is times 3. So 1, thank you for clarifying that. 1 times 3. Actually, both ways I just said. I said I used the rule. Blank times 5 is 15. So 3 times 5 is 15. Ainsley said no, it was 5 times 3 is 15. So 1 times 3 is 15. Alright. I want you to tell me. I'm going to give you one more.
What?
Actually, let's wait. I'll do it on this one. Okay, here's going to be the goal. I want you, in your group, to do number 4, and then we're going to be really close to done. We'll roll on the last part. However, here's the trick. You have to find this answer in this one, and then how many different ways can you find for that blank? So, even if you find the answer, can you find another way? I want to see how many ways did you find. Be honest, don't lie, count the same thing. Just be honest. In the amount of time I'm going to give you, find all the blanks, and then how many different ways can you find this last answer? Go.
Okay.
Let's get together. Let's finish this. Can anyone tell me, when I have 24 students, I have 2 teachers? That'd be amazing. Usually it's like 50 students to 1 teacher. So if I have 24 students, I have 2 teachers. How many teachers would I have if I have 12 students? How did you find the answer, Graham?
So we divided by 2 because 24 was divided by 12.
Okay, 24 divided by 2 is 12, so 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, how do I get the next blank? When I have 4 teachers, I have how many students? Elizabeth?
Okay, so we found this weird connection.
Okay.
So 12 times 2 is 24, and 12 times 1 is 12. And so we made like a prediction that 12 times 4 is 48, and that would fit.
12 times 5 is also 60.
Yeah, but like that's not the trouble.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So your times of 5. Actually, what you did was you found the rule from teachers to students is to times by 12. You actually kind of looked at it backwards. You're seeing if I had teachers times 12 gives me 12. So teachers is 4. 4 times 12 is 48. That actually works. All right, last answer. How many groups found? Real quick, let's say it is. The answer is 3. Raise your hand if your group was able to identify one method to find the number 3. Keep your hand up if you found 2 ways to find the number 3. 3 ways. 4. 5 ways.
Put your hand down.
6 ways. Did your group find 6 ways?
No, I was asking.
What's your question?
So we can use that rule for everyone, for every box?
For this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if the reason is they actually looked at it backwards, they flipped it. The real rule for the input, output is to divide by 12. 24 divided by 12 is 2. 12 divided by 2 is 1. But they actually do what I do. I don't like dividing. I mean, it's okay, but I'd rather multiply. So instead of going in to out, I went out to in, which is opposite. So I did the opposite. I multiplied. 2 times 12 is 24. 1 times 12 is 12. 4 times 12 is 48. Blank times 12 is 36. The answer would be 3. All right. Let's look at example 3. Okay, the last 2 examples are a little bit tricky. Number 3. This is that fourth or 5th method. What did I tell you earlier? 4th. Number sense. Number 3 is about number sense. You will see this in your homework tonight. It says, a nutrition label shows there's 75 milligrams of sodium for every 12 crackers. I eat 30 crackers. Now, there is multiple ways to solve this. But one method was that double number line that we did on example 2. Remember, or example 2, exploration 2 that we did Wednesday. So, what they did on here, if you're looking, here's their number line, and they said 0, and then they said 75. That's how much sodium there is. The second number line started at 0, and they said 12. So 75 matched 12. Now, I need to get to 30. On this number line, can I go from 12 to 30? A number line, honestly, is very helpful when you're adding your ratio. So they said if I went from 12, the next step is 24. The next step is 36. Which means on the sodium, I'm going to add the sodium. 75, 150, 225. To be honest with you, adding the ratio is something we usually struggle with on the table. The double number line does a really good job of showing it. Because all I do is focus on one number line. 0, 75, 150, 225. What would come next? 300. You do second number line and you just match it up. The first step was 12. Second step was 24. 36, 48. You're matching them up. So they did this. But I got 36, and I need to get to 30. This is where, if you know your math facts well, it comes in handy. You could have noticed right away, 30 is right in here. I'm going to switch colors so you can see this. 30 is right in here. And it is actually halfway between 24 and 36. 24 plus 6 is 30. 36 minus 6 is 30. So if 30 is halfway in between, what is halfway between 150 and 225? Well, it doesn't come out even. It comes out as a decimal. And it is 187.5. Here's the explanation on the picture right below. 30 is halfway between 24 and 36. So halfway between 150 and 225 gives me 187.5. Okay. If you did not like that, you could have made a table. And we never said how long a table has to be. They showed it here. We knew 12 crackers to 75. And we had to get to 30. So I'm going to redraw my table just so you guys can see it blank. Alright, we knew 75 to 12. And we knew we had to get to 30. This is where you use your number sense in what you can do. I know I can't add. I don't see a rule. I can't multiply 12 times anything to get me 30. So I'm going to go to a blank. You're going to add one in. I added a step. If I did 12 divided by 2, and the reason, this is the part that's confusing people. The reason I decided to divide by 2 was to get to the number 6. Was there anything in here that told me I needed to get to 6? No. This had to be on you. This had to be your number sense. The person thought and said, hey, I know the factors of 12 are 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 12. And of those factors, the number 6 is a factor of 30. Mainly what they did was look for common factors of 12 and 30. 6 was. I divided by 2. So 75 divided by 2 is 37.5. Now, if it came out to be a decimal that does not stop, would I have used it? Then, how do I go from 6 to 30? We times by 5. 37.5 times 5 gave me my 187.5. Okay, I know that is tricky. This is where perseverance comes into play. You have to try hard. Alright, we're going to skip the try and we're going to go to the very last question. Self-assessment. This is, why do I put this on your notes?
For self-assessment.
Yeah. Extra practice. If you want to study for your test, if you do these, you can turn it into me for a link spot. Okay, number 4 is a story problem. We're going to go over this halfway quick. Okay? Because you're going to have to complete the bottom part of the notes. This is where it gets really interesting. Where once again, everything we've been doing today is up to you. You pick what works for you. But it says, you and your teacher. Ooh. Quentin and I, we were making cupcakes to celebrate the 8th of November.
Who doesn't celebrate?
I know! It's the 8th of November. It's like the day after 1 week of November. There's no one else celebrating yet.
You are?
You were celebrating after being sick again.
Oh, got you, Judy. Uh-oh. Shh. Get it before no one gets. Did he go in the trash?
What happened? What is that?
That was amazing. Alright, so Quentin and I, we're making cupcakes, because that's what we do. We master chef it up. Now, I added 3 oh no, I want to be the teacher. I'm the teacher. Quentin made his icing. He took 3 drops of red food coloring, went boop, 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 and then he grabbed blue and went because he wanted to make purple. I got my cake mix, and I was like, bloop, 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 bloop. I put 5 blobs in of red, and bloop, 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 3 of blue. You want to know whose has more red in it? Whose is going to be more of a red shade? Quentin with 3 drops of red to 1 part blue, or me, 5 drops of red but 3 parts blue. Now, before we show how to solve this, we have to understand a story problem. We have to understand. So understand is, each of us put a number of drops in food coloring, and we want to know whose is more red. How are we going to solve this? Well, we're going to look at the ratio. His ratio was 3 drops of red to 1 drop of blue, where mine was 5 drops of red to 3 drops of blue. How we're going to solve and check is making a ratio table. Now, I'm not going to lie. Are there other methods to solving this? Yeah, actually, last hour, Dylan did it a totally different way, and it worked. He used what he knew with math. The reason I'm telling you to make a ratio table today is today's lesson is using a ratio table. So it's one method you can always use. All right. Before we even start, I'm just interested because the answer isn't listed. Who thinks Quentin has more red in his food coloring? Who thinks his is going to be redder?
I do.
Who thinks I'm going to have mine more red? Who has absolutely no idea? Wow, how many people are liars in here? Because I've had a total of like 12 people vote out of 22 or something. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Ratio table. Here's the easiest way to make it. This is not your frosting, this is Q's. Quentin's. How many drops of red did he put in first?
12. I think. I don't know.
How many drops of red did Quentin put in?
I can't see. 3.
3. Look at your paper. So he put 3 of red in. How many blue?
1.
How many total?
4.
Alright. So, let's make a table on this. Let's say he did 3. And he did another 3. That's 6. Another 3 is 9. Another 3 is 12. Another is 15. I have a lot of talking without seeing work being done. Okay, number of blue. He had 1. If you put another 3 of red, how many blues does he have?
2.
If he had 3 more red, he has. If he had 3 more. If he had 3 more. Okay. How many total drops does he have? 4.
8. 12.
Alright. Let's go to Sissel. Sizzler. Look at those exclamation points are like steam sizzling. That's right. Alright, how many drops of red did I put in? 5. So I'm going to go 5. I'm going to put in 10. I'm going to put in 15. I'm going to put in 20. I'm going to put 25. Then I'm just going to throw it all in. Because I'm even. Okay, that won't work. Thanks for ruining my fun, Elizabeth. Alright. How many drops of blue did I put in when I put 5 in?
3.
Every time I put 5 in, I put 3 more in. So I can add by 3. 3.
6.
Alright. How many total drops did I put in? 8.
4. 24. 32. 40.
Okay. Now, listen to this because there's 3 ways to solve this. 3 ways. The 3 ways we could solve this is 1, we can compare when Quentin and I put the same number of red drops in. Look at his chart, look at mine. Raise your hand. Did we ever put the same number of red drops in?
Yes.
Gio?
Yeah, 3 and 3.
I don't have 3 red drops.
Oh, you said red. I thought you said blue. Yeah. 15 and 15.
Look, you don't drop it, you. Okay, 15 and 15. Okay, let's compare that. I put in 15 red drops. Quinton put in 15. Whose is more red right now? If I only put 15 red, nothing else. If I put 15 in and he put 15, whose is more red?
Neither.
Equal. Now, every time we add 1 drop of blue, it's going to be less red, correct?
Yeah.
All right. When Quinton put in 15 drops, he's going to put in 5 blue.
Yeah.
When I put 15 in, I'm going to put in 9 blue. Whose is going to be more red? Quinton. When we have this, it would have been 15 to 5 compared to 15 to 9. Quinton had more. Okay, that's one way you could have done this. What if we would have compared blue drops? Do we ever have the same number of blue drops? Hudson? Okay. When he put 3 blues in, I put 3 in, which means we broke down our red the same amount. He put 3 blue to break it down, I put 3 in to break it down. How many red drops did he have when he had 3 blue? 9 out of 3. How many did I have?
5.
Well, the number of blues are the same, so who had more red?
He wins.
Okay, well let's look if I would have done it the third way. What if we just said we put the same number of drops in? Where do we have the same amount? Ainsley? Ooh, there's 2 of them. 8 or 16s. Let's just look at the 8s. When we did 8, Quinton had 6 reds for 8 drops. I had 5 red drops for my 8. 6 to 8 or 5 to 8? Which one's more? You see how every time we get that Quinton had more. No matter how you went about solving it, if you use the ratio, you could have compared and found that he had more. Alright, I'm going to stop there. Let me explain something to you before we stop. Couple things. One, I do have a game I wanted to play that I think would be helpful where you create your own ratio table and you're going to make people try and get it. We're going to do that on our review day. You have 16
Hey.
We have 16 whole minutes to work on our homework. I'm giving you, I can do more examples if need be. Instead, I feel right now a few of you are doing amazing. You get this, you're ready to run with it. A few of you are still a little confused. So I'm giving you 16 minutes in class. This is where you have to show that you are being proactive in your own learning. I'm going to give you the worksheet or homework. For 16 minutes, I don't want you goofing off. I'm not giving you 16 minutes to socialize. I'm giving you 16 minutes to work on your homework. If you get it, great. Work on it, get it done, turn it in. If you don't get it, you have 2 choices. One, find a couple other people that are a little bit confused that will work with you. Form a study group. Work together. So if Quinton works well with Quick, they can work together. If Quinton hates Quick, he doesn't have to say, I hate you. He just doesn't work with it. He picks Diego to work with. I mean, that's how it works in real life. I have to work with some people that I don't really care for, and we get the job done. If it's my choice to work with them, I don't. I don't go, oh, I'm definitely not working with you, Quick. You're a girl. And you have black tennis shoes on. Oh!
These are booties. How could you?
See? I didn't even get it right. Ugh. No. You just, hey, I'm gonna work with someone else. If Quick needs help, and she says,
Hey, Ross. I'm confused. You're so smart and good looking. You help me?
like, yes, I am. I don't like you, but I'm gonna tell you that. Yes, I'll help you. I'm gonna work and be civil. That's being a responsible individual. The second thing you can do is also work with me. I'm not gonna work individually though. I'm not gonna work with just Quick. Right now in class, I will not work with just one person. If you want to come up and work with me, I'll work with a couple people who do small group work. Okay? Your homework. You have a choice. If you choose to do it online, because you already started it, it looks like it is maybe working. Okay, it might be back up and working. If you want to work on it online, fantastic. If not, I'm giving everyone the worksheet. Ooh, it might be working. If you want to work on the worksheet, you can do the worksheet. Either one is acceptable. But, oh, I got people talking. Maybe I'll make both of them do. That could be easy.
No.
Okay, then why am I talking over people?
I'm good.
Oh, I'm waiting still. Your choice. You have to have your homework done by Tuesday. Either big ideas or the worksheet. If you do a worksheet, you have to show your work. If you do it online, you must show work. You have to draw the video, and you have to show how you got your answer. Okay? Everyone make sure they have a worksheet. Your choice right now. Either work online or work on the worksheet.